I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look at...
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kamen Riders. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek. We're here to talk about Kamen Rider Geats episode 22, and joining me, as always, is my good friend, Toby Tobes. What's up, Toby?
Not much, Josh. How are you?
I am great. Just living the dream over here. I was telling you a little bit off camera, off microphone, I guess we'll say. But I got into fingerboarding recently, which is a stupid thing to do at 35.
Like tech decks, like the actual like tiny ass skateboards that you play with your fingers, or no?
Yeah, man.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was still the name for it, if there's some like new thing that I was unaware of.
No, so I've always like kind of liked tech decks and like had them as a kid and stuff, and then I happened upon recently, like a video or something of like someone fingerboarding. So come to find out, Toby, there are professional fingerboards. Like, a tech deck is like plastic and you buy it for like $3 at the store. But you can buy ones that are like actually made out of wood, and like the wheels have bearings so they spin forever. The trucks are like all metal and actually like flex like a real like skateboard truck would. The like grip tape on a tech deck is kind of like sandpaper sort of, but these have like foam, so they have a lot more grip for your fingers and stuff. There's like this whole world.
Before you even say more, I want to say you're in too deep. With all the information you just presented to me, you're in too deep.
So that's a good. I'm glad you brought that up, Toby, because that's where this was going.
I'm glad you shot me down real early, real fast.
When I get into a hobby, when I get into anything, I go from 0 to 100 like instantly. Like I can't do something casually, really. So when I get excited about something, it's like it consumes me, and then it's just like I know everything about it, or I have to know everything about it. And this is funny. This is like one of my more casual hobbies, like starting it off. Like, I haven't spent like a ton of money on it or anything really. That's totally how I am. Whenever I get into anything, it's just always just like, and now this is the only thing I'm going to Google for the next 3 months. Because it's all that I care about.
Are you going to get into woodworking? We can build your own ramp and skate park. Are you going to learn how to like bend plywood to make it like nice little 45-degree quarter pipes and everything? Like, is that your?
I think that'd be fun. Yeah. So I think some of this hobby is going to overlap with like my like diorama making hobby stuff I like to do already, because like I have a slot car track that's kind of fun to like do scale model stuff for, and I'm into like the Hot Wheels cars and stuff like that, so those are also fun to like build scale sets for to take pictures on and stuff like that. So a lot of those things overlap, where I already like crafting things and I already like painting things. So totally, I could see myself getting to the point where I am, yes, doing woodworking to make myself half pipes and stuff.
I love it.
I already had a lot or some of the like tech deck skate ramp stuff, which isn't too bad. And a lot of it you can get by with just like, this is a block of wood and I can, skate on it. But one thing I did start today, when we moved into this house, the previous owner had left some like tile samples down in the basement. And I realized that I could take the tile samples and like piece them together and glue them together and make like granite ramps and stuff that I could skate on. So that's what I'm currently working on, is making like a granite bench that I can grind on.
Fantastic.
I'm working on learning how to kickflip. That's like number one. It's like I've always been able to ollie a fingerboard, like back in the tech deck days and stuff. Like that wasn't a problem. But kickflipping is like the first like real trick you learn. That's still pretty tough. I can't consistently do that. I can do it once in a while, but I can't consistently do it.
With this new knowledge that's been imparted on me today, I want to tell you a story. It's gonna sound like it's an insult, but I promise it's not.
I would be okay if it was. Go on.
When I was in high school, in our one computer class, like it was all 4 grades because computers were new then, and no one really wanted to take like programming class, so it was pretty much like anyone who wanted to take it got to take it.
Uh-huh.
There was one kid that always brought a tech deck fingerboard to class and would like do kick flips and all sorts of tricks with it, but would like kick flip and ollie like on the monitor and like grind on the monitor and like land it and all that kind of shit.
Nice.
And I found him both like impressive and sad at the same time.
That's really that's the needle I'm trying to thread here, Toby. Yeah, so I definitely am gonna be that person now. Like I have my deck in my pocket. You know, if we're at a restaurant and I'm waiting for the food to come, gonna hit some cool ollies.
I feel like your kid's gonna love this and your wife's gonna hate this.
That's literally where we're at so far. where my kid is into it, likes the skateboard, likes playing with it, and my wife is just like, I'm not doing this.
We're at the goddamn table, Josh.
Yeah, no, this is all happened. This is all real life. But yeah, it's fun. So that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been consumed with. Looking at my granite tile over here, deciding what configuration I'm going to glue it in for my bench.
Perfect.
One thing people do, so I've already threatened my wife about this, that this is where this is going to. So speaking of, you talk about getting into woodworking. People do concrete pouring for this, where they will like do concrete molds and like create like a bowl where they can skate out of concrete or create ramps out of concrete and stuff. So like I want to start making some concrete stuff to be able to skate it. That's like the next level.
That's pretty easy. Like aside from like making a decent mold, like mixing and pouring concrete is pretty simple. So I have faith in doing that one.
Yeah, that felt easier than like learning woodworking. But yeah, it's still it's a ridiculous thing to get into for 2-inch fingerboards.
Nah, it seems fine. This all seems fine.
It feels like a logical next step for some of the dumb things that I'm into. What's new with you? What dumb hobbies are you into these days?
Let's see. There's a stack of like 50 records on my floor I have yet to listen to. So
Nice.
that one's still going strong. I started investing in Lego light sets. So
like adding lights to existing Lego sets, like cars and stuff, like that sort of deal.
yeah, so like I have a bunch of I have a shitload of Legos in general because that's my guilty hobby where I don't need to be creative. I just spend a lot of money on adult sets and just follow steps and try not to fuck up. But they have I have a tree house and like a A-frame cabin now, which is brand new-ish. So I bought it's like $200 worth of Lego lights. That comes from like some side company that's not supposed to be doing this at all.
Right.
And the directions are kind of vague, where it's just like they use symbols to mean different things, like where the pieces need to come off and get put back on.
Yeah.
So I'm nervous to do one because I don't know if I can read the directions good enough to be able to do it.
Gotcha.
And it's those really tiny like LED strips where it's like one tiny ass thin wire basically. And they're like, well, don't make sure like when you run the wires, like don't put it on top of the little studs because if you push a brick back down, you're probably gonna kink the wire and just break the light.
Breaking the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm looking at like my like $100 set of like I'm bad at things, and if I do this wrong once, I'm gonna have a bunch of trash on my desk. I'm just gonna get really upset with myself.
Yeah, that's pretty intimidating. Yeah, I've looked into these as well because I like doing the Lego car sets. Like I've done a couple of those. Being the kind of car guy, like those are the things that I like gravitate towards because also they're like fairly small too, right? And they make light sets for some of those cars where you can put like real working headlights and taillights in the cars. The cars especially seemed really intimidating to do though, because there's not any room inside the cars to like stash the wires and to, plant the batteries and stuff like that. So like, it seemed like it was really, really complicated to figure out where to put all that stuff. They look cool. They look really cool when it's all done, but I definitely like looking into it, got to the point of just like, yeah, there's no way I'm going to accomplish this. And then gave up.
Yeah, so like I opened the book real quick while we're talking. So there's 6 icons for take apart, costume, enlace, cross, pull, or turn. And like it's
Oh,
just looking at it just looks too intimidating. But the message on the book, the like little spiel at the end for like the support thing. I'm gonna read this to you because I just noticed this now. It's fantastic. Congratulations, you have successfully installed the lighting kit. I am so proud of you. Good job.
wow! You gotta make the book proud of you, Toby.
Yeah, so like I'm gonna
You
go
can do
through and
it.
get stuck, and then like read that at the end after it's broken, and be like, "This company's not proud of me at all. They're just embarrassed, but they're thankful for the money."
Yes, they are. They're very happy that you gave them the $100. That's cool. I'm excited about if you do attempt those. I'm excited about both in progress pictures and final result pictures because that's I would I'd be interested in maybe getting one of those at some point.
All
That's
right,
fun.
I'll definitely show you one of them as long as I
Okay.
do it right. I'll show you the final result and be like, "Oh, this is actually pretty cool."
Yeah, this is really neat. Yeah, and like there's some crazy stuff that you can do to like light things up and make it look like the windows are lit and stuff like that. Very cool. Yeah, that's a level like I like Lego sets, but then I also like the like a little bit of additional creativity on top of it. So that's like a good spot for me.
Well, in general, it's all things that like make me feel like this is a little more adult and not just a kid's toy, even though I
Yeah,
know it's
yeah.
not adult and it's a kid's toy.
For sure. Yeah, there's a little bit more involved into it. Yeah. Especially if you break the wires, then you got to start soldering. Then it's
Yeah,
really
then
an
I
adult
don't know
toy.
what to do at that point, but that's gonna be
You
a
can just
real thing for sure.
you can just crimp them together. It'd be fine. You'd be
God, I hope
okay.
so.
Oh man. Toby, we got some emails. If you want to dive into emails here, if you're out there and you want to tell us things about Lego light sets or anything else, you can send those emails to cast@commonridersucks.com. But this week, we have an email from our friend Charlie from Texas. You might remember Toby. Charlie from Texas has written in before, and I believe Charlie's first email, I thought that you were Charlie. I
I
thought that
recall.
because I believe Charlie's pun for our name of our podcast was we'll say Toby-esque.
It doesn't remotely come close to the hot names I drop in this place. He tried. He came at the king, but missed.
I think he's all right. Let's see if he can redeem himself here. So, Charlie says, I have not been able to listen to the podcast since I sent my last email. I can assure you that I am in fact real. So, we got our confirmation. Charlie says, in trying to come up with another pun, I had a few actually good ideas, but most of them are spoilers for current episodes. I did, however, come up with a different pun that relates to a different show.
Now we're
So,
cheating, but that's fine.
so
But let's hear
this
it.
this is a show you and I were talking about just earlier this evening. This is the new Super Sentai show. So, Osama Sentai King Oger is the name of the show. Charlie says that if we were doing a podcast about Osama Sentai King Oger, we could call ourselves the King Ogres.
Charlie.
Char-
Charlie.
Charlie has a pretty low opinion of you and I because he thinks we're ogres.
I don't know about this. I don't know about you anymore, Charlie. This is highly suspect.
Maybe Charlie could join the show, and then it could be like Charlie and the Ogre Boys.
That's really what he's going for.
Yeah, maybe. Charlie wrote in again to tell us that this was in fact Charlie from Texas. And then we're moving on from there. We get an email from our friend Shade. Hearing back here from Shade, and Shade says, heard you guys talking about doing other Kamen Rider shows, and I think your friend Kieran has fantastic taste. Game is a fantastic season, and it's in my top 5. So there's another recommendation for Game.
Okay.
And potentially a friend connection there for Shade and Kieran.
If you two want to Twitter at each other, go for it. We support the whole Riderverse.
We do. Shade says, another season you guys seem to be interested in is X-Aid. That's also a great season, and it is Yuya Takahashi's first work in Kamen Rider. Takahashi is Geats' writer. So if we like Geats, that makes sense that we might like X-Aid, same writer.
Yeah.
Do note that these are 2 insanely popular seasons to the point where they make specials to this day. We got a game special last year and an ongoing crossover miniseries with many characters from miniseries, but half of them are post-series stuff like V Cinemas, where they put the spotlight on other characters or expand on the lore. A weird idea that I have, maybe you guys can watch the first 2 episodes of other Kamen Rider series to familiarize yourself with other Kamen Riders. That's an idea. Yeah, like to get a taste of series that we haven't watched, just like watch a couple episodes.
That
See
seems
what
like a
they're
decent idea.
Yeah.
I concur with that.
Yeah, I like that. We could do the quick tour of all of the seasons and get like at least a little bit of a feel for the characters and what the show is like, and the intro and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I like that. That's a good idea, Shade. Shade says also this is where Shade cuts deep. Are you ready? Also, I noticed you were pronouncing stuff a bit awkwardly.
Oh no.
When pronouncing Sentai names, you can say the gur like in Ranger, and game is pronounced with the letter A being an ah and not an A. So I just said it wrong. So get gom.
There's no place for logic and grammar here. I'll be honest with you, Shade.
Sorry if this was not explained clearly. I can't think of a way to explain Kamen Rider names. Yeah, I've never.
He did a good job of explaining it.
He did.
This isn't against him for helping, because we do need help. I'm just saying there's no place for it here.
I think we do need the help. The explanation was good. You and I are beyond help. We need the help, but probably beyond help.
Shay, this is episode 22. You've heard me for 22 weeks of your life not making sense. This has been a long time problem of mine, and not just for this show. So you're doing the best you can, but it's like you're just like smacking your head against the wall at this point.
It's also one of those things too where I'm never certain what the right answer. So Kamen Rider Decade is a good example, right? Where it is.
It's probably not Decade. That's what I was trying to guess last week. Where it's
it is, because it's an anniversary show of Kamen Rider. So they picked the English word decade to be the name of the Kamen Rider. However, in the show, they pronounce it decade, or they call him Decadowa. But that's just the Japaneseification of the English word decade. So then am I supposed to call him decade or decade? Or are we supposed to go all the way and say Decadowa? And that sounds really bad. So I just don't know what the right answer is. That's all.
There's never one. There's really never one.
So sometimes that's my problem, is I don't know if I'm supposed to do the more Japanese pronunciation sometimes of words that are more Englishy words. But yeah, other times I just don't know how to pronounce things, because I barely know how to pronounce English words, let alone Japanese ones.
That's my problem too. I know maybe people would respect it more if I tried, but I know I sound very English and awkward trying to do Japanese things. I have no talent in any foreign language whatsoever. So it probably sounds more embarrassing if I would try to do it than me just not doing it and just Englishing the fuck out of it.
Did you take a language in high school and stuff?
I did French from 7th grade until 12th grade.
Okay. Yeah, I did Spanish. It was mine for that time. But
I always sounded dorky.
Yep.
And I have no flow. I can't roll letters. People can do the crazy the rolling R noise. Never.
I can't do that. No, yeah. It was the same way. We had a whole lesson on rolling your R's when I was taking Spanish. I could never do it, no matter how hard I tried. It was never a thing. And yeah, I never stopped sounding even though I was getting okay at comprehending Spanish words, comprehending sentences and movies and stuff we'd watch. I never got to the point where I sounded any better than yo tango, just a very American person trying to sound these words out. Yeah, so you and I, same boat. Same boat.
Perfect. The way it should be.
Shade says, with all the Power Ranger anniversaries going on, with all the Power Rangers anniversary stuff going on, have you ever wondered, what are the Sentai people doing? What kind of bizarre idea do they have now? Well, they're working on their new show, Osama Sentai King Oger, which literally translates to King Sentai King Kinger.
Perfect. This is why I have no chance.
King Sentai King Kinger. So yeah, we Shade sends a couple links there for King Oger. You and I have looked at some pictures, of course, as well behind the scenes. I you're hesitant about the show. I'm excited about at least checking it out. So we'll see. We'll see if
We'll
you
see
and
how that
I
works.
do anything professionally involving the show, but it is it's trying some things. We'll at least say that. Shade says, now to end my email section, I'll leave some cool things. So there's some pictures here. So not great for the audio listeners, but I will do my best to describe, and I'll put the images in the video version. But the first image is a really cool picture with Keiwa and his suit actor, who we've talked about before, Eitoku, in email sections, and it's in particular it's the Keiwa suit with the like cracked helmet. So it's a cool behind the scenes picture where you can see the like cracked helmet in finer
The fancy
detail.
one.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. And then if you remember when Ace made the steak for he and Keiwa as like their midnight snack, one of the things that he had with the steak was like a piece of fruit that's cut in kind of a star shape, and turns out it's the exact same shape as Buffa's eyeball, like the one that gets broken and like the yellow goes out of it. It's the exact same shape and color as Buffa's missing eye, so it looks like it's like that's where the eye went in their stick. And then finally, a nice meme that Shade sent along. It's the scene where Ace shows up to give some supplies to Buffa when they are kind of not fighting, and he brings up some gas station food, and it's Buffa holding up beers, and he's saying, "I have booze," and then Ace is holding up his bag and says, "I have snacks," which maybe is where we're gonna get to with those by the end of this season, but who knows. And then finally, Shade sends in one final email and says, "Been holding this in my head for 3 weeks. I need to say it out loud. I demand that episode 22, which is this one, of the podcast is titled Glare 2 Electric Boogaloo."
Done.
Which we will get into Glare 2 for this episode, but yes, that is perfect. And with that, Toby, let's jump in to our discussion.
Let's do some comment writing.
Commenting on let's ride through our own comments of Kamen Rider Geats episode 22. What happened in the last episode, Toby? What happened in episode 21? Let's catch everybody up.
The main thing was that we found out that Neon is actually the destructor, but Sai
or disaster.
Yes,
speaking of saying words wrong.
Yes, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. And Sai took one for the team because even though she knows Neon is the evil mole in this operation, she was like, "I have the love of my family. I want you to have love too. You go out there and win the Grand Prix."
Yeah, it's kind of beautiful, right? Like they formed a friendship that goes past the desired Grand Prix and what's happening in it. So, but now we are, of course, beginning a new round, beginning a new episode where our three core riders, Keiwa, Ace, and Neon, know that the disaster is among them. So the three tight friends have to look at each other with new eyes and figure out who the disaster is. The show opens, of course, with Keiwa having his sort of confessional for the reality show, and he's just taken aback. He can't believe it's going to be Ace or Neon. He doesn't know what to think. Our boy's in trouble.
Well, it's funny because like during that speech, like it could still be him. There's like he doesn't know, and like
well he would know if it was him.
Like that, yeah, I worded that wrong. Like he's saying, well, it has to be one of them because it's not me. But that doesn't mean it couldn't be him. He could just be playing stupid and saying it's not me.
Sure.
It depends how much of the actual like reality show people see. Like if they didn't see Neon and Sai's adorable moment, like no one would know any better. And he could still be playing like stupid Keiwa, but actually be the mole.
I think I'm trying to remember back into some of like Daiichi's confessional segments. I think he was a bit more like open with like Oh yeah, I'm trying to pin it on pin it on Kwa. So I think maybe they treat the audience as like having full knowledge. Like the audience might have known might have known Neon was the disaster the whole time. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not 100% sure if that's true or not. But you're totally right. Yeah, it could, if they don't, then it could just be him playing 4D chess with the audience for some reason.
He's too smart.
Um, in the intro here, Neon gets a card, the like disaster, objective, telling her to obstruct the players, and if she doesn't, then she doesn't win, which she already knew. The card seems a little superfluous. I didn't think we really needed it, but nonetheless, she got one. And then we open. Of course, the game master is reviewing the current percents of approval, and as we talked about last time, Buffa is looking at a 7% approval rating now, and all of the other 3 Kamen Riders are very upset that Buffa is included.
As I questioned last time, why does he count?
Exactly. So they argue it a little bit, but he's staying. Basically, is the answer.
Well, Josh, the answer is because he has an actual supporter, the queen of nonsense, Miss Jellybean herself. that like their logic is it counts because technically she is a supporter. So if she's going to back a random person that used to be a rider, it counts as a rider in the game.
I don't understand why she's an official supporter. Like she's not going through the normal, supporter process. It doesn't seem like she just sort of showed up at the greenhouse and just said she's a supporter. I don't know. Yeah,
she has a room. She has a room in that crazy world or the crazy dimensional watching party.
Oh
place.
Yeah, I guess she does. Yeah, we see it in this episode. I think. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so Buff is in. That's
all there is to it.
We find out that the next Giamato attack is going to be a duel of fates. The game master is
we're playing Star Wars.
Yeah, he's very stoked for it. Yeah, exactly, Star Wars. Then we have our little intro, and as soon as the intro is over, the game master is lying on the ground. It appears as if he is dead, and Ace asks, "Is the game master okay?" Turns out Sumi says he's just down in the dumps because the Giamato haven't appeared in days, and the rest of them are just kind of sitting around playing cards, including Sumi, to pass the time. The game master is just laying there.
I think in general, playing cards with your friends, like actual just like rummy or whatever thing, is like the best like generic. We are bored. There's nothing else to do. Let's go get a deck of cards. So I think that's actually like the perfect like visual representation of like we're just sitting here doing literally nothing with our time.
It's one of those like hilarious movie and TV shorthand things that happens in real life like a fraction of the time it does in media. We're like, yeah, it is a good way to visually represent these people are bored and things are taking a long time, but like it doesn't happen in real life that much, right? Like how often are you sitting around and someone's like, well, we got some time to kill. How about some poker? But yeah, I love that as just a thing that happens in media all the time. So Keiwa says like, hey, it's a good thing that the people are safe. There's no Giamato. And in my favorite scene in this whole episode, the game master just falls over. He's like laying on his side and he like falls over backwards. And as he does, he's like, no, it's not good.
My ratings.
I just love that the scene of him falling over it was great. So he's kind of distraught. He doesn't know what to do. He's worried about the ratings. He secretly calls the gardener and is complaining about the Giamato. Says, when are you going to send him? And this is one of those moments where the gardener just seems unhinged. He's like making faces at the game master over the phone, like big crazy eyeballs and stuff like that.
Visually taunting how he can't see.
Exactly. And the gardener kind of says like, yeah, they'll come when they're ready. Whatever, we're still working on it. Like really just puts him off. The game master's like, the audience is going to get bored. It's going to affect my approval rating. What am I going to do? So it turns out holding back the Giamato is Daiichi's plan. Once again, our favorite Pidgey in your terms. He's an advisor to the Giamato backer, and he's right once again. He says if you hold back the Giamato, the game master will become impatient, and he will start round 4 even without an enemy present.
He's just too smart. That damn kid's just too smart.
He can read those people. So the game begins. We have no enemy. Who is the enemy, Toby?
Well,
Who stands and rises to the occasion?
Surprisingly, yet not surprisingly somehow, our final game is once again a Game Master battle.
Indeed, yes. It seems like it always comes to this. Our wonderful, hilarious, ridiculous Game Master has himself a vision driver. He transforms, and he is Kamen Rider Glare 2.
So he and it's funny because his Kamen Rider outfit, whatever you want to call it, it looks okay, but I wasn't impressed. I thought it was gonna be the same one as the crazy. I expected either the one we saw with actual Glare, or I expected the one from the first guy, the first Game Master that got lost, died, whatever. I expected a reusal of the costume. I didn't expect a new one. So it's kind of cool they did that. But I was just this kind of looks weak, all things considered.
So the very first Game Master who wanted to kill Ace, he was Glare. He was the original Glare. And then the producer from last week was Gazer. So this is the second Glare, because I guess all the Game Masters must be called Glare.
Okay, I'll call it that checks out. But I don't know.
And this version of Glare is clearly it clearly is based on / is the first suit, but it's a little bit different. The helmet and stuff are different because they do this weird mixing of the red and the blue color on it that wasn't there before. So it's cool. It is it's very clearly an iteration on that costume, but yeah, they're mixing it up a little bit, so it's not a complete redo. But I thought his controlled riders looked especially cool with his version of the helmet that sort of attaches to them.
Yeah, the bonus controller button thing.
Yeah,
that made it definitely at least added to that aspect of it.
For sure, yeah. He does his big transformation. Our friends, the Kamen Riders, are kind of shocked. Sumi starts counting. She counts to 10, and as she's counting to 10, he runs away,
giggling, dancing, prancing around, just having the best old time.
Yeah, it is the giggliest little kid-esque runaway you've ever seen. But he's a scary Kamen Rider. There's a great scene as Sumi counts to 10, gets to 10, all the Kamen Rider's jaws are just agape, especially Keiwa. His mouth is just on the ground, what did I just see? What is happening? It turns out this round is not so much Duel of the Fates, it's tag. They're playing tag.
The greatest game.
They need to tag the Game Master. There are going to be 2 rounds, 1 hour each, and the sort of autopilot controlled Kamen Riders will be interfering. Keiwa asks basically why are we even doing this? And Sumi says it'll affect your audience rating, so you better try hard.
Yeah, the question we all asked, why is this a thing?
Yeah, what is all this for? One thing Sumi forgot to mention is there are also traps. Keiwa steps on a landmine.
Like an idiot. It's not that he even just steps on a landmine. It's when you take your foot off, it blows up.
Yep.
So he steps on this red switch that's tied to attached to wires running around him with other things near him. And he's like, oh, it clicked. And takes his foot off, and then explosions go off.
Yeah.
And he basically slapsticks his way through those trip mines for the rest of the fight.
Yeah,
he just doesn't grasp the concept of do not step on the red buttons on the ground.
Constantly over and over again. I loved the very first one too, because he's fighting one of the controlled Kamen Riders. So he steps on it, it clicks. That Kamen Rider just instantly is stands straight up and then just walks off screen. Oh, I'm out of here. It's just I will not be in this place any longer. And then Keiwa explodes himself. Yeah. In addition to stepping on the landmines, which Keiwa was very good at, he also slipped on a banana peel. He got drenched in freezing water. At one point, he got trapped in a cage.
And they drew on his face with marker.
Yep. While he was in the cage, they drew on his face with marker. So yeah, he's not doing great. He's not doing great here.
And all I could think of was like, well, like the producer game master guy is kind of like live blogging the game, where like he hides behind a corner and he's definitely talking to the camera,
Yeah.
and he's like, "What are they gonna do? Are they gonna come find me? This is fantastic." But all I could think of is like, I can't think of the specific games right now, but like there's games now that are built for streamers where like if your audience can interact and like type commands in the chat that the game picks up and like either makes it easier or harder for you. And
Oh
that's
yeah,
all I
yeah.
could think. That's all I could think of was like, it's basically that vibe of, okay, everyone's watching this game, and if you want to drop banana peels and mines on the players, go for it. And just like, it's just what seems like what happens.
Yeah, it definitely has that vibe. You're totally right. Yeah. Well, it lasts through the first round at least. He does not get tagged, and our Kamen Riders head to kind of a cafe to get some coffee, some sort of restaurant. We get to see Keiwa's heavily markered face at that point. And Keiwa and Neon start to kind of argue about something, and Ace says it's like listening to a couple argue. And Keiwa and Neon like take much offense to this.
And up until this point, we joked about it. I've never been more convinced they're going to date now.
Same, yeah.
That's gonna be Neon's love.
That was my methinks the lady doth protest too much moment right there between them. Because like they hadn't even really been hinting at the two of them hooking up recently, but this was just such a like hit the hammer on the head, hit the nail on the head. That it
Well,
seems
even
like that's where they're going.
in the beginning when she kept saying she wanted love, I think like you and I put more of the she's dating Geats or Keiwa stuff out than like the show actively seems to.
For sure, yes.
But now after like, no, we're not dating, like that makes it seem obvious like they like each other, I guess,
Yeah.
at least.
That moment was also a callback to the very first episode when basically I think Ace called Keiwa her boyfriend, and both of them were like, no, that's not what it is. And then he's like, oh, there's still a shot or whatever. Like they had the same sort of like really loud reaction about not dating then. So it could have just been them doing a callback to the first episode, but yeah, it seemed a little bit weird. Also, now thinking back to Ace in that first episode, him saying, so there's still a shot is hilariously out of character for him. During this little meal, basically, Ace confronts Neon about, he says, did you send Keiwa into that trap on purpose? The one where he got his face all markered up. And Neon tries to turn it around on Ace, basically. She's like, no, I didn't. And says like, well, don't, you can't trust Ace. His specialty is deceiving people, which, fair.
Yeah, he's on it the whole time. It makes sense.
And Neon kind of from this point on is sort of like freaking out about getting outed by Ace. She knows Ace is kind of watching her, is sort of onto her. So she steps outside of the restaurant and she gets confronted by this stranger. We don't know who he is yet. He tells her like she dropped something. He has kind of her compact in his hand. And then he just kind of scolds her. He says that he didn't like what he had been seeing from her. And he didn't like the character that she was basically portraying. And he said, not everyone who watches Neon TV is a fan.
And it's funny because like, I think that's more accurate to the way the internet works than the way it's worked the rest of the time. We're like, oh, like, of course, everyone loves her. Everyone's this. Like, I think we all know, like, comments on the internet are usually way more aggressive and rude than, like, nice things.
Yeah, she had one of her, like, creepy commenters show up in real life, which is, unfortunately, the thing that happens more often than not, yeah.
And it wasn't even, like, the happy one. It was like, no, I don't like you.
Yeah.
I watch your dumb Twitch show, but I don't like you.
I hate watch your Twitch show, and now I've showed up IRL to tell you that what you're doing is bad. Stop doing it. Pretty creepy. The guy goes out of his way basically to tell her like, you don't care what happens to other people as long as you're happy, right? And then he says, wishing ill on others will backfire. So he like tries to warn her off there, but again, yeah, like super scary interaction she kind of has. Meanwhile, Ace goes and speaks with our buddy Gene,
who's swinging on a rooftop somewhere and somehow.
Yeah, Gene basically believes Ace is not. Yeah, we talked about it last time. Or I guess was it this episode we talked about this about who is the disaster? It was this episode with Kwa. So I guess the audience doesn't know who the disaster is because Gene kind of, it says here he has faith in Ace to not be the disaster. Like it's not like I know that information. He believes that information. So
The
I
best
guess yeah,
hidden secrets of the show.
we're getting to the bottom of it here. We're figuring things out. Um, Ace asks Gene why the Giamato haven't appeared, and then Gene tells him about that Giamato sponsor because she came to visit Gene that one time.
She did.
Weirdly,
And she taunted him a little bit about Geats and then went on her merry way. Eat some jelly
and
beans.
Gene pulled a freaking gun on her.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, Gene's packing heat. um, we get some more fighting happening. Glare 2 escapes Geats' bullets by doing the worm at this point.
So like that, there's a whole scene or vibe or whatever you want to call it, where like they're all fighting Game Master, and him being in a Kamen Rider outfit or him being a Kamen Rider at the moment and doing just dumb things like the worm and dancing and everything else to avoid fighting versus like using the power that we know the suits provide.
Yeah,
It's just like the weirdest goddamn thing.
maybe he's just not good at it. Like, well, I guess he's good at dodging and stuff, but like, I guess maybe it could be like he's just not skilled at fighting. Like he doesn't seem like he maybe would be amazing at it.
He's more
So
of the
maybe
mouthpiece than
yeah, where the original Glare, yeah, could kick some ass, but maybe this guy is just like, yeah, I'm more flashy. I can do the worm. That's what I can do. That's what I bring to the table here. The slapstick continues. Kwa steps on a landmine. Neon kind of helps him out. At some point, they think they have Glare 2 cornered, but he basically, in an Indiana Jones-esque move, like rolls a big concrete ball at them. Just all kinds of nonsense everywhere. Then we have kind of a big pivotal moment sort of come up. So Ace sort of zeroes in on one of the bad Kamen Riders, one of the controlled Kamen Riders. He's got him in his sights and his gun, and then Neon sees he's about to shoot, dives in the way of the bullet so that she gets shot instead.
and like
It's very obvious that she's doing that on purpose.
it couldn't have been more obvious because like even with before they inevitably they fight about it and they figure out who the mole is, but like she was nowhere near where
No.
the range or aim of his gun would have been before that moment. So her jumping in front of the bullet and being like, no, he shot me, like looked, it couldn't have been more obvious it was not an actual thing.
Yeah, this was like such a faux pas on her part. Like Ace is so smart, and like he doesn't miss. Like if he's aiming at something, he hits it. Like he knew where you were. Like he would have had the situational awareness to know that you dove to get in front of his shot. Like so she was setting it up for a situation where it's her word against his, right? Like she had to have known that he wouldn't think it was an accident. So she's really pushing the issue of it being a confrontation.
It's not me. It's not me.
Yeah. Glare 2, however, so the game master sees this happen, sees her kind of insert herself into this, and he's like all happy about it, and because she's doing her disaster mole thing. And as he's celebrating, Buffa and Daiichi show up and confront him. So Daiichi is in full Kamen Rider form once again since he has his ID core back, and Glare kind of tries to run away, but the Giamato supporter also walks in, calls him a buffoon, and she transforms into something. Glare like freaks out and calls in his drone riders. So all of the riders that have been fighting the other Kamen Riders, he calls them to him to come protect him. So what do you think she did there? Because we get a little bit of a shadow where it's like large. He looks up at it and gets instantly terrified. What is she becoming?
I would just have to assume like a demon or something. Like I don't think she turned into a rider because she grew.
She
I
grew
feel like
big.
she's
Yeah.
like secretly like actually like a monster and turned into like some like scary demon thing.
Because I think you're probably totally right on. Like she's trying to capture this goddess, and we know that she, like, every time people talk about her and why she's doing what she's doing, the only thing they say is, well, she really likes human suffering. So I think she's just literally the devil. Like I think she just is, or is a demon or something, like some devilish demonic creature that would just get off on human suffering. And
so
yeah, I
so especially to wrap it back to the conversation last week when it's starting to see more heaven and hell
yep.
religious tones ish, that would line up where she is like some scary demon.
Yeah, she is a demon, or just the pure devil coming to attempt to take control of God and heaven potentially. Yeah. But she certainly, struck fear into Kamen Rider Glare 2. We cut back to Keiwa and Ace and Neon, and they're full on in the midst of their fight here, where Neon is like, "Oh, he shot me. He must be the disaster," and so on. Clearly it's up to clearly it's up to Keiwa to sort of decide who he believes. Like they kind of have their back and forth. Cuts over to Keiwa. He thinks about it for a second, and then he says, "The disaster is obviously Neon."
And he's so sad about it too. Like
He
he's
is.
legit like heartbroken. Like he found out she like cheated on him or something.
When he says it's Neon, like Ace gives him this little smile, like I just knew you'd figure it out, buddy.
I had faith in you to finally finally pull your head out of your ass a little bit and like do some good.
And I loved that his reasoning was basically like, yeah, Ace is perfect. He wouldn't shoot you on accident. It's not really what he does.
The dude has never missed ever the
Yeah.
entire time. Always knows the right thing to do and not how to win and everything else. And this one time, like, yes, he accidentally aimed his gun at you and shot you. Like that doesn't
Yeah.
sound like.
I think not. Sorry. So I loved that. Like it's pure to character for Ace. Like, yeah, he's gonna be perfect. He's not gonna make those mistakes. And then yeah, like Keiwa figuring it out is a really cool. Like Keiwa having his moment, not just being like a dumb idiot who tags along and gets dragged along with everything too. So that was neat. But yeah, Neon completely outed. Not gonna work out for her, unfortunately. After we find
like her detractor said, if you act like an asshole, you're gonna lose.
Exactly. If you try to jump in front of bullets, you're gonna get shot. You know what I'm saying? Then we cut back over to the situation, let's say, with the game master and the Giamato backer. The Giamato backer again talks about wanting the goddess of creation. She steals the vision driver from Kamen Rider Glare 2. So she takes that off, and basically that we find out, especially in the end title card where they fully spell it out. The vision driver is sort of the key to all the functions of the Desire Grand Prix. So if you have the vision driver, you get access to the goddess of creation. You get access to everything that goes on within the DGP.
So they show after she steals it, and they talk about it again. They show the goddess in like a quick cutaway, but it's enough to see it. So as we're talking, I pause on the scene. The goddess itself looks like a statue of an angel holding a child.
Oh, okay. I missed the child the first time.
Well, like I'm only like because I'm studying it a little bit more now versus like just watching it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely looks like there's like a face looking down on something, and the thing that looks to be in her hands looks like it's a kid with his hand on his head, like staring back up almost.
Okay. I think you're onto something then with Geats and his mom.
Then that was more of like I said, we usually try to treat each episode separate, even if we're recording multiple episodes at once. Mm-hmm. But like that one seemed too obvious, or at least like with all their conversations, seemed very on point. Josh, I just sent you the picture of the statue, so you can confirm my
I'm excited
my guess here.
Oh yeah, if that isn't a baby, it's like it's womb-esque, right? Like she is she's cradling something that looks like it would be sort of like the lifeblood, or like it's vaguely where maybe like her pregnant stomach would be. Like it's something that looks like it would be childlike or womb like or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It could literally just be she's holding a baby too, like a swaddled baby.
There you go.
Huh. Interesting.
Interesting indeed.
I'm excited for the show to tell us everything about it. And then as the big cliffhanger to finish this episode up, Gene shows up to face off against the Giamato backer.
And Gene's mad. Gene is very mad.
Gene is pissed. Gene is so pissed that he transforms into a Kamen Rider.
And Gene the Mean Machine, I think he actually has the best Kamen Rider outfit.
He does. He has the best looking suit so far. Yeah. It's got like these cool like visual slashes across it. So like his helmet is sort of like divided in two. Like there's like a plane that sort of shoots through diagonally across his helmet that like looks really cool, and it's all like whites and blues and stuff. Yeah,
He actually looks like Batman with just a little bit extra around the helmet.
Yeah. That's a good. But like he's predominantly white, right? Am I misremembering?
It's like black and white 50-50 with like flashes of blue because of his hair, I would assume.
Yeah, it sort of matches his hairdo. It's cool looking. Like he's neat. His little catchphrase is like he just wants to be moved.
He wants to feel something.
There you go. Thanks for sending the picture. Yeah, he's like, I guess the base is black and then he's got the white sort of outlines. Yeah, I think he's really cool looking. I like the little blue accents everywhere, with like just a little hint of purple in places
where it needs to be.
Yep. I like the big eyes too. He's like most of his head is like the eyeglass, which is neat.
Yeah.
There are Kamen Riders showing up everywhere in these episodes. Like think about the last two episodes we've watched. We have like the producer being like this kick-ass Kamen Rider. We have the game master being Glare 2. We have Gene showing up in the same episode. You've got Daiichi getting his Kamen Rider back on. Like everybody's a Kamen Rider.
Well, the crazy thing too is like my big hype after this, or at least like during that scene, if nothing else, he has a brand new gun driver looking thing.
Yeah.
So I got all excited. I was like, oh, hell yeah, more toys. That's all I could think of was like, here's something new to sell 20 episodes in.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the secondary. So they do this a lot. In Kamen Rider Decade, there is a secondary rider who has a gun-based driver, kind of like this, where you sort of like shoot it and like kind of load it and scan it across your belt and stuff. So they've done kind of this thing before, but it's always like super cool where the transformation is gun based instead of just like putting things on your belt.
It looks like it's either called a shot riser or a SID driver, or C driver, 2C driver, something like that. But if the toys I'm looking at now is the correct thing, it's like $100 for that stupid gun.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, because like the regular driver is always somewhere in the like 60 to 80 or 90 range.
Oh wait, no. It's a DX laser raise riser. Because I'm looking at the pictures and this definitely matches it better with what it was. So this is a $50 toy. I apologize. But the pre-orders just closed shortly after that episode came out. So that seems extra fitting of this is definitely the correct toy.
Yeah, ready for it to be sold. Laser raise riser. That's cool looking too, because it like I like the like circular center. It looks like a very future gun. I like the future gun look of it.
Yeah, it says his catchphrases too. So this is definitely a hammer. I nailed it down.
And then it has different
the laser raise riser. Buy yours now, $58.
And apparently Gene's Kamen Rider name is just Kamen Rider Gene. Yeah, because it's listed here as just Kamen Rider Gene or ZIIN, which is like the I guess Gene. The translation Gene is the Romanization of Zine, Zin, Jin. Z's and J's are kind of the same thing, I guess, in Japanese.
See, here you go. This is why we don't talk about things, because we don't know words that good.
But I'm looking at the like the different variants now, which is maybe spoilers, I guess, for future episodes, but it's looking cool. The little shotgunny thing, the things you can plug into it look really cool.
Another great toy created by whatever company makes these things.
Yet again, another great toy. I wish that we could. So yeah, the toys I feel like are just slightly too expensive by the time we import them over here. I wish they were just like a smidge cheaper, because like they're supposed to be like cheapo plastic toys. Like I would buy one of these guns just to mess around with in my office for a little while, but I don't want to spend $50 on it.
What if you just moved to Japan and then it was cheaper?
What if, Toby? What if?
Great life questions here.
I don't think that'd be good for me. I think they would think I was like a monster gaijin or something. Like I would be I don't think I'd fit in well with life. I think I would like their TV shows, but I don't know. I don't know how well Japanese life is suited for me.
Yeah, maybe we'll find out someday.
I need the wide open expanses of American suburbia. Oh man. So yeah, that ends our episode of Geats 22 here. We of course cliffhanger before the end of the actual game, so before the end of the disaster voting, before Neon getting voted out potentially. So my question to you is there going to be a twist, like, or is it just a straight vote? Neon gets voted out and then she's gone.
Well, if the game master lost his driver,
he can't complete the game.
He can't. That would be my main take. Like,
okay,
because then she doesn't have to lose.
Yeah,
because like
that's what I was thinking too. Was that the whole like abduction, taking the vision driver is just going to basically be like, well, we can't continue on, so bummer.
It's going to be one of the cheaper hand waves of the situation never happened, because they can now.
I think so too.
In my mind.
Yeah, I think from here on out they're going to have to figure out ways to like not lose the core three, because like even Buffa dying, of course he came back. Like clearly we're not going to get rid of these four.
Yeah, they're definitely locked in the rest of the time.
So like the little bit of time we had without Kawa when he lost is probably the most that we'll have. So yeah, I think they'll find a way to keep Neon looped in, find a way to keep anyone who's losing looped in, probably at all times from here on out. But yeah, I think you're totally right. I bet that the vision driver is the thing that would have been needed to like run the game and close it out, and this will be the like, well, okay, it's all
a weird
forfeit.
Game changer, and they're not gonna, since they can't win their game a second time, they're gonna have to focus on saving the driver from the demon girl so that they can save the Genesis goddess and all sorts of shit.
This is kind of how we cleanly transition into like out of reality TV world into saving the world mode again, right? Like, okay, you have to go beat these guys, because if they get the goddess of creation, they're going to destroy the world. Like, we have to stop this. So,
and now that we know that's a thing, I feel like they could do like one more wipe where like maybe she wins, and wipes the world once, and then like the final game round, whatever, is like the trio having to like actually like save the goddess and like save the world.
I can see that. It'd be pretty cool if in the bad guys winning version of the world, it like she kind of maybe scatters the three of them to the wind, and the Trinity, Toby, has to find its way back together.
Always there.
Figure out who they are, to in order to come back and win. I think with all the religious undertones, at some point they have to start calling themselves the Trinity. That seems at least like a plausible sort of like exit, direction for the series, or like direction for the series to go. But they're really good at throwing in wrenches, so who knows what's going to happen. But I am excited about seeing where it goes.
I can't wait to be right for once.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us for Kamen Rider Geats episode 22. We are anxiously awaiting 23. We hope you join us back to talk about that one. If you want to send us emails like our friend Charlie did and our friend Shade did today, you can send those emails to cast@kamenridersucks.com. You can also go to KamenRiderSucks.com to check out our video playlist of all of our episodes. You can also search for the Kamen Riders on YouTube to find those. You can also check us out in podcast form. Just search for the Kamen Riders in your favorite podcast app. We'd be very happy for you listening in either format. And you can also check us out when we're not talking about Kamen Rider. Toby, where can the people find you?
On Twitter, you can find me at Life of Tobes. And on YouTube, it's Tobes Plays, where I play fantastic games all the time. My love for Kingdom Hearts is well known, and you can share it with me on that very website.
Perfect. You can find me on Twitter and Tumblr at PrettyDeeceJosh on both places. And that's pretty much what we're doing. Toby and I have some exciting stuff cooking. We had a little meeting a little bit ago with
a brainstorming sesh.
Yeah, we had a little sesh. There's some stuff that I'm really stoked about. You guys won't know about for a little bit, but hopefully you find it cool when we do find out. So lots more to come from us, of course, both in Kamen Rider Geats and also in other little projects and stuff. So keep sticking around for that exciting stuff. And we'll see you back here next week for Kamen Rider Geats episode 23. Till then, have a great week, everybody. Peace.
I'm taking shots at the enemy. I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, bitch, you ain't seen anything. I pop off with the new rock, electronic, blow the sonic roof off.